movements of the Russian army. I mean, I think Ukrainians are outmatched and outdone. But they do have international support, and the question is, how long can they hold out? What can they do? What can they defend? How many little militia groups around the country will pick up arms in support? And what that all looks like. I don't know that anyone really knows. There have been messages going out to Russian troops on the Ukraine side in eastern Ukraine. Messages of capitulation saying, "Hey, look, the Russians are coming. Give up. Don't bother. Save yourself." But I don't know that that's necessarily going to mean a capitulation by the Ukrainians.
Well, let's go back to this attack. And what does it want beyond those two independent states as they view it? Is it possible that it's thinking of simply occupying all of Ukraine? And then you have, what do they do with that? We've had that experience with Afghanistan and Iraq, and that doesn't bode well.
I think that's the one thing that suggests against it, right? Like, he's going to have a country of 40 million people that hate him, and he's going to have to hold that for, like, that sounds terrible. On the other hand, it seems doubtful that he wants to stop with these two little statelets that he's recognized, that he's already effectively controlled for the last 8 years. He did say that he recognizes their territorial ambitions, and so that suggests that he's at least prepared to use force to expand their borders deeper into this country.
And so you have a situation where Russia will not hesitate to go in. They will be the fighting force. Certainly it won't be those two, as you put it, stateless. Great phrase. So they're not going to fight the Ukraine or Ukraine. So it's going to be Russia. The Western world, are they going to leave Ukraine by itself in terms of actual fighting? I mean, plenty of material is going to go in. Certainly there'll be a lot of military support. But is anybody prepared to sit there and fight the Russians?
Certainly not the United States. President Biden moved some troops around from other parts of Europe, into the Baltic states, I think, to reassure them of their own security. But there's no thought. President Biden's been pretty blunt about this, that American troops are going to be here fighting the Russians. I mean, that's World War III. That's not, that's a whole other thing. And so the U.S. can certainly aid the Ukrainian military and help it for as long as it can hold out. But I haven't heard any talk of other countries committing troops to Ukrainian defense.
So it's a given. There's just question before Russia, of course, totally overruns a good part of Ukraine. On the ground, talked to Brad Garrett yesterday, who is also in Lviv, and life went on as usual. People going to restaurants, they're walking around, they're going to amusement areas. Has it changed since yesterday?
Not really. There's no outward sense of panic here. I was in a gun shop, and the manager was saying that, there's been heightened interest in his products for defense and to protect families. But no, people were in cafes, kids go to school, people go to work. None of that seems to really change. But there is this undercurrent, right? Like, the state of emergency and the tariff of reserves and all of that. There's the vibe starts to change a little bit, even if people aren't necessarily completely ready.
Are you seeing any military people on the streets more so than usual?
It's hard for me to know what's usual and what's not. So I can't say for sure. I mean, you see some, but again, they're not in any kind of an aggressive posture.
That's fascinating stuff. Aaron, thank you. There's plenty more there. Coming up, against Russia. I'm going to go through what's in place, what's going to be in place, what really works, how tough are the sanctions, what are they, and explain a little bit about that coming right up. In the meantime, the trucker convoy is on its way. What's that about, Jennifer?
Well, a lot of drivers are on alert because you've got two COVID protests that start across the nation. One is from right here in California. We've got a convoy of truckers headed to D.C. There's also one from Pennsylvania going to D.C. Both are hoping to shut down a highway that surrounds the city. The FBI is warning businesses and local governments to be aware of cyber attacks. There's nothing specific at the moment, but they say it could happen as the threat of war in Europe is at its highest level. And a trial in the botched Louisville police raid of Breonna Taylor's apartment starts this morning. Former officer Brett Hankinson is the only one charged 2 years after cops entered the healthcare worker's apartment in 2020. We'll take a look at your drive on the 101 in just a moment.
If you're looking to get out of your house, okay, it's time to sell it. For whatever reason, you're moving, you're downsizing, it doesn't matter, or you've inherited a home. Now what? And you want to get rid of it. Well, you call a real estate broker and you list it, and you pay 6% for that, and then the broker says, here's what you have to do. You have to paint, you have to repair, you have to clean, the house has to be spotless, and you have to live that way until it's sold, and buyers are going to walk through the house, prospective buyers, and you can't be there. Who wants to live like that? So let me give you a different way, getting a fair price for your house without any of that. No buyer walks through. You can live like a slob. You don't have to paint, repair, all of that. And that's with directbuyers.com. Directbuyers.com will give you a fair price, and they'll do it with cash. They'll do it immediately, even within 10 days. They'll offer you a $15,000 cash advance before closing to help with your move, and they will never, ever, ever lowball you. Go to directbuyers.com, directbuyers.com. Call 844-242-SELL, directbuyers.com.
SoCal weather from KFI, mostly cloudy this morning with a chance of showers and highs in the mid-50s to right around 60. This report is brought to you by WDC Kitchen and Bath Center. Let's take a look at that drive on the 101.
You betcha. Leaving San Fernando Valley now, southbound 101, the Hollywood Freeway. Second up, but anyway, it's not too bad. It's Sunset Boulevard down to the 4-level, kind of normal stuff. Southbound, about the same thing. Los Feliz down to the 110. Now, our mountains are still getting beat up with flood. I got to give you a warning about the grapevine. North and south, between the 99 I-5 merge and the 138 in Gorman, closed down now for snowplow activity. They're working like crazy. And we just got word of a new problem, possibly. I'll follow up on this. The North 5 closed down now at Parker Road. More on that. It's real wicked in the mountains. So be careful. Jeff, KFI in the sky.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. In 2022, where is your best chance at finding the appliances you need at the best price, in stock, and ready to deliver? WDC Kitchen and Bath Center. Go to WDCappliances.com, WDCappliances.com. This report is sponsored by Discover. Real credit card questions require real people. Someone who understands your issues and works to resolve them with you. That's why Discover offers helpful, U.S.-based representatives. Available 24/7. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
Being a real estate agent isn't about listing houses. It's about connecting to people. I need to find new buyers every day. So I promote my listings using radio commercials from iHeartAdBuilder.com. Now every time I have an open house, it's a full house.
A custom radio ad from iHeart Ad Builder is the fast, affordable way to drive customers to your business. Put the power of radio to work for you. Get started now at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Bring in electric owners, listen to this. Tired of waiting for a service appointment and paying too much? Check out our brand new Fletcher Jones Band Center in Costa Mesa. We're offering a better service value with no wait appointment and extended hours for your convenience. And as part of the Fletcher Jones family of dealerships, your customer experience will always be second to none. Visit fjvans.com or stop on in. Mention this ad and the first 100 customers will receive a free oil change. The new Fletcher Jones Band Center, Costa Mesa, keeping your work van working.
As parents, we've done everything we can to keep our kids safe, happy, and healthy during this pandemic. From finding the best face masks to making sure their hands are clean. And now we have the best tool to help keep them even safer. The most important thing we can do is vaccinate our kids to protect them against COVID-19. Vaccines have been proven safe and effective for children 5 and up. Talk to your child's doctor. Or visit myturn.ca.gov to find a vaccine near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Joining us today, Scott Painter, CEO and co-founder of Kfi. It's a new company. It's right here in LA that offers car subscriptions.
The whole idea behind a subscription was being able to simplify the transaction and make it easier for the customer.
Buying a car also seems so cumbersome. This seems to be a super easy way to get you into this Tesla Model 3.
You're doing the entire thing on your phone. You simply go to Kfi.com, install the app, you simply give us your driver's license and that digital form of payment, and you get either the car delivered to you or you go go and pick it up.
I'm excited about it.
Hey, the politics would be guided by the data today. That phrase is banned. I don't want to hear about your data. What about the science? I don't want to hear about the science. They just make up science now. They ignore it. No, it's all discredited. It's all over. Everyone has to shut up. Why can't I be dictator? You know what I would do if I was dictator right now? The usually would be marched into the gulag. John and Ken, just for being dictator. Weekdays at 2 on Kfi. AM 640, Bill Handel here. Wednesday morning, February 23rd. Cold day. We're in the middle of the cold snap. And that's going to last for a while. And there's a little bit of snow in the mountains. Snowpack report. I'm going to give it to you. It's actually down a little bit, which is kind of a shocker. The other big news, well, I don't know how big it is, but Oscars, which is always big in Southern California, something ratings like beyond belief. So 8 awards normally given during the show are now off the air. And so they're going to try to make it a little bit more palatable. There'll be, I think, 1 hour less of the broadcast, and no one's going to pay attention anyway. So that's the news. Now the big news. I mean, the big news, and that is what's happening in Ukraine, Russia. We just had Aaron Kaczynski, who is in Ukraine, talking about the imminent attack of Russia. I mean, no one has any doubt. And then, so what does the United States, what does Europe do? Because, as I explained yesterday, this is NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the Western world, against Russia. It was created to defend Europe against Russia, and we're right back to the Cold War, right back to the days when NATO was formed in 1949, because we were standing off, we were literally at odds with each other, and we're right back to that, except obviously a lot more sophisticated and a little bit different geopolitically, because it's now Putin instead of Stalin. So what is going on? Well, as I said, and what the president promised is, the more Russia gets involved, the more the sanctions are going to hit. It's not going to be military attacks. You're not going to see a military conflict, per se. Russia goes in, let's say it just takes over Ukraine. Literally annexes the entire country after the military comes in, beats the crap out of Ukraine militarily, because Ukraine doesn't stand a chance against Russian forces. And now what? Well, there's not going to be a conflict. You're not going to see the United States, you're not going to see Europe, you're not going to see troops fighting Russians. So what kind of ammunition does the Western world and the United States, which is leading this movement, have? It's all about sanctions. It's all about sanctions, and it's all about money. Making it difficult for the Russian economy to continue on. And there are a couple of different kinds of sanctions. There are sanctions that don't mean very much. Okay, we're going to pick a few oligarchs and freeze their assets, and they can't travel, and those are people that are close to Putin. What does that have to do in the big picture? Nothing. And so that's what happened a couple of days ago, and a bank that was very close to the military and the Kremlin. Okay, so that's getting a little tougher. Now it's time for the big boys to come out in terms of sanctions. And what can be done and what's being done. I'll tell you one of the big ones. Germany is suspending its certification of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. This is a massive pipeline that is being built, matter of fact, probably finished by now, that takes natural gas from Russia into Europe, into Germany, where then it's distributed. That's a huge issue. Germany actually fought the United States. The United States didn't even want that to happen. Germany said, oh, no, we need the gas. We need the energy, and they said to the United States, too bad. Germany now is shutting it down, saying, that's it, there will be no certification. It hasn't started up yet, but until this controversy ends, this conflict ends, no gas for you. Okay, that is a big one. Now, I talked about sanctions on individuals and businesses. Well, you know, again, it depends on how many, it depends to what degree, starting with hitting civilian leaders. And in this case, 2 Russian banks that were considered pretty close to the Kremlin and the military
about $80 billion in combined assets. I mean, that's a lot, but that's not enough. There are a couple of and that is Washington can take, in the Western world, all of Russian banks out of the picture. And I mean, with the push of a button, banking in Russia stops. I'm talking about Banking International because, as I've explained, there is an organization called SWIFT, which is an international clearinghouse, and that's where money goes. Everything is paid in dollars, incidentally. The dollar is the currency of the world. Oil is sold in dollars. Russian goods are sold in dollars. And the United States has the ability, with the Fed, to just say, that's it. You're done dealing with dollars. And the world actually pays attention. And all of a sudden, Russia can't deal with dollars. But wait a second. They sell product in dollars. They pay for products in dollars. Nope. That is going to stop. That's a big one. I mean, that is huge. And then entire sectors of the Russian economy can be just shut down. For example, the United States can say there will be no more computer chips moved into Russia. No. Why? Well, because we don't make them all. We get ours from China and Taiwan. Well, we have enough influence internationally that we can say to Taiwan, we can even say to China, you know what? No more Russian chips going in, or chips going to Russia, or technology, or products that they need, especially that can be converted to military use. And the issue of Taiwan's easy. I mean, they'll shut down tomorrow, but China sells to Russia. And why wouldn't the adversary war say too bad? Because China is in the world economy, and China needs trade with the world more than it needs to back up Russia. And so Russia is vulnerable to all of this. And Putin doesn't seem to care. Now, what Putin has done is anticipated this for a long time, and they've created their own SWIFT-like organization. But for the most part, it is not working. And so, I mean, keep in mind, what does Russia get? Russia buys, for the most part, aircraft. They fly on Russian carriers are flying Boeing. Okay, so they can't buy Boeing jets or spare parts anymore. Well, then they go to Airbus. But wait a minute. Airbus is France and England, and Airbus is part of NATO. The countries are part of NATO. And they're certainly going to pay attention to the sanctions. And this is what we did in Chile, when Chile went communist, if you remember, back in the 70s. I mean, it was the first freely elected communist government on the planet. So what ended up happening? The United States said, no, thank you, and stopped the sale of spare parts from Boeing to Chile, and the Chilean air industry just was done. Couldn't get an airplane in the sky. Now, Russia makes its own aircraft. It does, but they still buy a lot of international parts and aircraft. So there is so much. Russia's ability to get integrated circuits, products containing integrated circuits, that's going to be severely restricted. Because, for example, they have their own airplanes, so that's not a huge problem, and they have their own manufacturing. What they don't have is an industry of circuitry. And where that is in the Western world and in Asia, where we still have an enormous amount of influence. That's going to hurt. Now we're talking some serious sanctions, which is going to cause at least a recession in Russia, if not a major downturn of the economy. Well, look what happened with Iran. We did that, kicked them out of SWIFT. Their economy's in a free fall. They can't sell internationally. They can't use dollars. 90% of their revenue is oil, which they can't sell on the world market. They have to do it under the table. And it is, those sanctions really do work. Now, is Putin prepared to accept those sanctions? No one knows. I mean, everybody is looking at a guy who is literally controlling a country in which the entire world is looking at and teetering on, if nothing else, a severe economic downturn. Oh, as the invasion continues, when the Russian troops actually move in bigger numbers into Ukraine, starting with those two independent states that they've declared. Then, if they go beyond that and enter into Ukraine, as even the Russians understand Ukraine, then you're going to see some major, major economic issues going on. Well, look at the price of oil. And we haven't gone, there hasn't been a real war yet. I mean, it is a god-awful, just a mess going on. Economic boom times are here. Why aren't we happy about it where we normally should be? That's coming up, but first, a firearm sweep. Jennifer, give us the latest on that.
California seized almost 100 firearms from people who weren't supposed to have them.
The state attorney general says 13 people were arrested and more than 49,000 rounds of ammo confiscated. The operation focused on 51 cities in L.A. County and targeted people who were legally prohibited from possessing a weapon, including those convicted of a felony or violent misdemeanor, placed under a domestic violence or other restraining order, or suffer from serious mental illness. In 2006, California became the only state in the nation to create a system for tracking firearm owners who fall into a prohibited status. State investigators partnered with the LA County Sheriff's Department, the LA County Probation Department, and police departments in Azusa, LA, Pasadena, and Pomona. See Gregory, KFI News.
The federal government has awarded $35 million to a company in California to help mine rare earth metals along the border of Nevada. California is also working on a plan to extract lithium in the Imperial Valley. Governor Newsom says the area around the Salton Sea contains some of the largest lithium deposits in the world.
We think this is big. We don't want to understate it. We also don't want to overstate it. We're still doing a lot of the due diligence. But if it's as big as it appears to be, this is a game changer.
Governor's office says lithium is a crucial component of batteries needed to power electric vehicles, enable a 100% clean electric grid, and move the state's homes and industries away from fossil fuels. AT&T may be the first major carrier to pull the plug on its 3G network, but it won't be the last.
All major carriers are set to end their 3G this year. KCLA-TV tech reporter Rich DeMuro says companies don't want to share with networks that few devices are on.
And yeah, some of the home alarm systems and things like that, Norman, but the real lucrative devices are the smartphones and those data plans, and that's why they want to concentrate on their 5G network.
AT&T shut down its 3G network yesterday. It told CNET that less than 1% of its data traffic runs on the network.
A new plan would change housing laws for colleges in California. Senator proposed legislation that would exempt the state's public colleges and universities from an environmental review process for often slow construction. This California Environmental Quality Act has been abused by residents who have a badly needed housing at UC Berkeley. UC has asked the state Supreme Court to block a judge's order capping student enrollment there. State Berkeley's neighborhoods filed a lawsuit saying the university's uncapped student growth is ruining the city's quality of life. Jeffrey Mark, KFI News. And the Living Desert Zoo and Gardens in Palm Desert has a new baby. A female giraffe was born yesterday in front of visitors who saw the calf standing in the newborn girl is 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighs about 143 pounds. We take a look at the 57 right after 4 to 1. The Cardinals scored twice in the Anaheim Ducks 4-3 shootout win over the San Jose Sharks. The Kings are at the Arizona Coyotes at 7 live on the iHeart Radio app. Little leftover from the Super Bowl when the Rams man Jefferson became a father for the third time. He didn't know his wife was being taken to the hospital for the delivery because she made everyone promise that she went into labor during the Super Bowl. The Rams call him until after. Now the couple of revealed the new baby fitting in. Jefferson. And then you really don't worry about so much. What the heck about? You don't know you have them. You can have them
Win Street bonus!
And they get into your walls, and they start eating, start doing damage immediately. Let me suggest a phone call to the top termite for a free home inspection. And they'll tell you one of two things. They don't have termites. Yay, great news. What you do when they attack them in early days. And we're going to get rid of those termites and do it without tenting. And that is so important. I've tented before. Oh, God, you don't want to go that way. Double bad with food. Double bad when you come back. Pet sitters, hotels, all of it is just a mess. And Pacific Coast Termite does that without treat the termites without testing. The call for that enzyme. If you have termites, you feel like you're bugs flying around and then they know if you're going to call it right now. So call 800 Pacific. Visit PacificCoastTermite.com 800 Pacific.
The clean, clean way.
Here's check out what they say. Today with a chance of cooling times to be in the mid-50s to right around 60. Then we drop into the 30s and 40s again overnight.
Las Vegas.
And a couple of degrees warmer. From the 7 times traffic center, let's go places. We're going to the 57.
That's it. If you want to,
Oh, this is good. That's alright, this is good.
between one and those and Diamondback. Southbound 57, even that Lake Shit area going through Brown. It's all in pretty good shape. It's all
Wow.
going there by California Court, but really not too bad. I think drive centers. But North 71, even the 60 is always going up to the Grand and then finally the West 10 to the 605. Well, it's just plain slow. Thankfully, all the weather. Now, up north, the mountains are still getting beat up with snow. Simply put, here, in between the Great Times to say, North 5 is now closed to Country Road. And then the southbound side, coming through the Grapevine, all the way down here, both closed. There's no flowers, a wood.
Okay, everyone. It's time.
Step on, hail, fire in the sky.
Bad, this one.
Win Street bonus.
Degrees already. Feels like springtime. Or wintertime. Or summertime.
Marketplace. It's a world-class casino dining experience like you've never experienced.
And the #1 reason.
Spring break is almost here. Book your break at MorongoCasinoResort.com today.
Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Morongo. Good times. Hey, contractors, it's being said. Service partner wants to say thank you to the thousands of workers in the trades nationwide. What you all do is essential, and we want you to know you're appreciated. When the pandemic forced everything else to shut down, you showed up for all of us. When the AC stopped working, and the phones backed up, and the lights came out, and stuff was happening that couldn't wait, you couldn't wait. And so we started support for simply businesses like you. Today, we trade and big trade, service trade, understands